Alexa, tell me a joke.
Why did the banana go to the doctor? Because he wasn't peeling well.
Let's get into the video. Today, I want to talk about why I shoot RAW plus JPEG in my photography. So now you may be asking yourself, why am I making this video? But I just wanted to share what I feel is very important to know is what kind of file format you're shooting in and for what reason. Because cameras these days, if you have a DSLR, a mirrorless, or even your phone, they all shoot different types of file formats. Now, if you have a DSLR or a mirrorless camera, you are able to shoot RAW plus JPEG, and that is the file that I shoot when I shoot with a mirrorless or a DSLR camera. But when I do shoot on my iPhone, I tend to shoot either sometimes on the app itself, or I go onto Lightroom CC, which is the Adobe program, and that lets me shoot in RAW. Now, why is RAW such an important thing that why all photographers talk about shooting in RAW, or RAW is better than JPEG? And now let me explain it to you. RAW is a file format that keeps a lot of that data that you get from the sensor baked into the image, so you are able to have a wider range of flexibility in your editing process. Now, JPEG is a flattened image that doesn't have much information in it. Other than the metadata, it really doesn't have all that information to bring it up and control it a lot more in depth in your editing afterwards. Now, why is being able to have more control over an image more important? I think this is very important because since you are a photographer, you are shooting pretty much, if you are like me, everything. I shoot everything that I come across, and sometimes I don't have the right setting for that image. RAW really helps me make sure afterwards in post I can make sure I have a great exposure locked down in my photo. Now that I let you guys in on what RAW and what JPEG is, I want to explain to you why I shoot both formats, JPEG plus RAW. Or in the sense of having my camera, it's RAW plus JPEG. But it's only one preset, so the camera, while shooting that one photo, collects both photos and it duplicates that photo. One is in RAW that has that more information baked into the metadata, while JPEG is just that file, barely any metadata, but it still looks good. So I shoot this because of how easy it is for me to transfer files from my computer to a client. If someone wants to preview the images before I start editing them, and even if I'm at home, but we'll get that in a later part of this, I want to explain why I have it for a client. Sometimes clients or other people that want to view your photography, they like to see it before you even have time to edit the photos. And I like to show them a little bit of it, right? So they get a little bit off your back when you are trying to get that work done of editing your photos. Now that's very beneficial for me because of how well it works with the client looking over the photos, or someone that you're taking photos for. They are looking them over, and then you have that time to edit them and make them look even better. And even if you are at home, so this is the second part of why I shoot plus that JPEG, is going to be it's easier to preview them. I'm on a Windows machine and I can't preview my RAW files. I have to either open them in Camera Raw in Photoshop or in Lightroom Classic or CC. Now, it's not that big of a deal because if I do shoot JPEG, I manage to preview them. I have my Finder or my folder cropped in, so I have two previews, well, two items, and then it's a list downwards, right? So I'll show you that right now while I'm talking, but it's a easier way for me to see because it's the same image every single row. So the way I look at them is I look at the previews on the JPEG side, and then I see what photos I'm trying to import instead of importing them all and waiting for load times and all that slow stuff to process in the background while I'm trying to just edit my photos. It's a real time saver if you just preview the JPEGs and you get the corresponding RAW files instead of importing everything at once. And I'm pretty sure you guys understand why I shoot RAW, just like every other photographer that wants to have great photography. They shoot RAW because of how nice it is to have that flexibility to control how your photo looks after post-production. Because more often than not, you can't return to that setting where you've taken that photo that you are editing in post if anything is wrong, like a little bit of white balance or exposure. So that's really beneficial for pretty much everyone if you want to have flexibility in your workflow of editing your photography. So this is why I shoot in RAW plus JPEG. It gives me more flexibility and I get to control everything that I do without waiting and wasting time on load times, and I get to preview things much faster with that JPEG. And if I see anything wrong and I want to edit in a photo, I take that RAW file, edit it, export it, and that's perfectly fine. So I hope you guys learned a little bit about why I shoot RAW plus JPEG in my file format of choice when shooting photos. Now keep in mind, it does take a little bit more space. It's shooting double the photos. It's shooting a RAW photo and a JPEG. So if you shoot pretty big file formats like me, I shoot as big as I can get, really. So that takes up more space. So you got to keep in mind that you're either going to want more SD cards or larger SD cards. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I hope you guys learned something about that file format RAW plus JPEG and why I recommend shooting it because of how easy and flexible and beneficial it is to shoot in that format. So see you guys. Hope you guys enjoyed again. Why do I say that so much? I don't know. Alright, bye guys.